Oh, well, good afternoon and welcome. You can see my face. I've got my camera facing in the wrong direction. So, hi. I was wondering why my picture on my screen was looking so dark. That's because I've got the wrong camera on. So we'll fix that up in a minute. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Well, this is going to be a trial and error. Hopefully I can flip these quite easily. Please jump on, say hello, let us know where you're from, and it's always great to welcome new people. So I'm sorry about my background and everything being so dark. It's unfortunately I've got very bright lights in here, but I don't have any bright lights shining on me, so it does make everything look quite dark. And a good thing I've got my back looking quite reasonably tidy for the moment. So let me see if I can flip this camera down. So I'm just going to change my cameras. So bear with me and let's get this camera working properly. So, okay. So can you all still hear me? If someone is on, please let me know because this might work really well for me. Okay then. So sometimes making a mistake. Hello, Lily. Can you hear me okay? Because I've got a different speaker on. So I'm just assuming everything's good. Okay then. So I have got this particular suite out. Now this is one of the new ones coming up in our mini catalogue, and I can't remember the whole suite name because I don't actually have my catalogue in front of me, but the designer series papers, now there's two sounds good, great. There's two designer series papers in this particular suite. You have got the Floral Delight designer series paper and the Floral and Gingham Vellum specialty paper. So let me very quickly show you this. Now, if you saw my last Saturday, I did an impromptu unboxing and I got all of this. So this is actually the first time I've had a chance to sit down and play with this since last Saturday. So these are the papers. Now I've put them all together in one lot. So let me go through these with you, and I'm going to go through the one side and then I'll flip them over and show you the other side. So we have got this beautiful paper here today. Now I've cut a bit off both of these two papers. That's because I'm not quite sure which one I'm going to be using. But you've got this lovely paper which has got probably a Daffodil Delight background and an Old Olive, I think. Then you have this one. Now, of course, you can also fussy cut all of these. Unfortunately, the dies don't cut these out. These two papers here are very intricate, and at first I looked at it and I thought, oh, I've got more sheets of that one, but it's not. They are different, as you can see, because we've got smaller flowers and extras, whereas this one here is more all your, I suppose they're a dahlia, because they're not a chrysanthemum, but they're good because they've got that dahlia centre. So that sort of paper, Mother's Day papers, being in the dahlias, a lot of yellow. Then you have this particular design here, great for backgrounds. This one here, and he's starting to bring in the blues. So it's got a light blue background. Another little one with a spray on there. And I'm just wondering, is that's that one. And then if I flip them over, of course, you've got that on the background of that one, that on the background on that one. It is a lot softer, I think, than what it's actually showing up on screen. So this is an Old Olive with your Daffodil Delight, and the other colour is the pale lemon. the lemon lolly. Okay, then this one here is more of a white background. Now, those dots are showing up quite dark. They look like almost that they're like an old olive, but they're not. They're in the Daffodil Delight. You've just got a very fine line of either black or old olive. I'd say it's black on either side of those dots running through there. But just on camera, it's just showing up like that. I don't know whether if I bring it up closer, you might see it is actually yellow a bit better. Then this one here is the old olive on the back, and it's got sort of like a linen type image to it. And these two that I have cut, this one is like, again, a linen, but in the brown tonings. So it's sort of getting into like a pecan pie type tonings. And then this one here has got the gingham and white, yellow and white gingham. Check. And then, of course, we have your vellums. So we've got a vellum. Let's move all of that out of the road. This one here is white with the lovely flowers on top. And I'm just going to take each one of these away because the colours underneath are going to show through a little bit. Then you have beautiful blue and white gingham in the vellum. And the blue with the little white flowers and yellow centres and the old olive leaves. So very pretty, and that's also in that vellum. So they're the papers. The suite also has the Delightful Wishes stamp set, which you've got a couple of sentiments. You've got 2-step stamps here. You've got 2-step stamps there. And then you have this one here, which is like a branch, and then the leaves would work over the top. And then these little pieces here on one of the designer series papers. I'm not quite sure whether I can find it quickly. Not that one. It is one of the ones with the white background. This one here. See how you've got these little dots here in the very soft blue tones? Well, that's that stamp just there, but it can also be used. Whoops, my paper's flying everywhere. It can also be used for your flower centers. Now, those 3 little dots are one stamp. So if you're wanting to use them in your flower centers, then I would just be inking up one at a time to get that fitting in your center nicely. Hi, Joan, how are you? It is a very pretty set, and it also comes with your dies. So your dies are the Delightful Wishes dies. Now, I haven't got all of them here, but you have got the dies that cut out these flowers. You've got the die that cuts out this flower up here, and the die cuts out that particular leaf. Then you have these other dies, which I've got here in my tray. And we've got this one here, which cuts out a beautiful little floral background, which I thought we might try to use today. You've also got the word wishes here on the stamp set, which you can stamp and then cut that out. So instead of having to fussy cut that, they've given us a die to cut that out. But then they've also given us the word wishes in a finer one, so you could even die cut that out and then sit it on top of that to form that shadow line. So those, you can work those two together, or you can work those two together, or work that one independently. There is a really great description of that in the catalogue, so that is very, very useful. Whoops. You also have this die here, which is great for all these elements here. So you can have wishing you a happy birthday, wishing you were here, wishing you all the best, lots of love and get well. So there's lots of sentiments there that you can use and ways that you can use it. You also have in here a die that cuts out a branch. Now, I've already done this. So let me just clear a space here. So you've got the die that cuts out that branch there. Of course, it's mirror reversed. You have these dies here. There's 3 of them. And they cut out these flower pieces here. Okay, so I'm just going to move these up so you can see them. I'm going to move that out of the road, pop that over here. Let's get rid of those so then I can move all these up and you can see them. So we have that piece, and we have these pieces here. Then we'll have, now this forms a flower. So we have this piece here, which is going to give you the details for these flowers. So they give you the details for each of those. So let's move those all up. And these are the little pieces that they cut out. Now, I was having a bit of a play before, trying to work out how this all fits together. And I did draw it on my die. Don't do that with pencil, because then when I went to die cut it, the pencil mark from my die actually transferred. I'm just trying to get the piece up. Transferred onto my paper there. You can see where I was laying it on. So I'm going to see whether, probably didn't put it in, that should fit. So I was trying to work out where these pieces fit. Now, the one thing I did work out, you've got this big fat piece there, and it actually sits, and I think I've got it the right one. It sits on one of these almost perfectly, and it's not doing it for me. So maybe I have the wrong one. Let's just keep moving this around. Maybe it was that one. That looks better. And that's actually lining up with those pencil marks I've put on there. Well, it was transferred over. So that will line up with that. So what I want to try to do is see if I can get these. Oops, don't need that. Since they're just pencil, it should just rub off. So we're going to then take this piece here. Let's see if I can get this right again. And it is going to line up perfectly with that piece there. So I'm going to glue those together now while we're doing it. The wishing die was my fave. Yeah, I think it's great having a few words like that, which is not just happy birthday. Now, of course, you could use your adhesive sheets when doing this. I actually quite enjoy, or quite like, using the glue. And if you didn't catch Patty Bennett the other day, she had a fantastic way that she saw of adding this glue. So now see that little piece there that forms that V, is that V there. So what I want to do is marry those two pieces up. I think once you can find it the first time and find a point of reference, so that's going to be my point of reference when I'm putting these together, is that V is in both of those dies. So that's that piece that goes together. Now let's pop out the little bits in this. And we need to work out how this fits together. So let's have a look at this one here, because I didn't get to work this one out. So you've just got to keep working around until you find some sort of said point of reference of where these might want to go. So I hope you're having nice weather. It's trying to rain here at the moment after all the hot weather we've had the other day. So I'm sorry I didn't get to do my live on Tuesday night. It was a stinker of a day. And that's my, there we go. I think that goes on like that. So this one here, it's a little bit harder. Let's see if we've got a point of reference here. I think this little piece here, it's got like a little leaf type shape piece, and it fits into, let's see if I can get it right again. Again, you've got another V type. Actually, that's probably a better way to look at it. Again, you've got this V happening there, and that's the point of reference for those. So let's glue that together. Now, today I'm playing with the yellows, and that's mainly because that's what the designer series paper and everything uses. But as Linny knows, because I did discuss it with her, that I am actually quite excited about using these with in different colours. Probably wouldn't necessarily use them with all the designer series paper, but you could very well, there we go, that's that one. You could do these flowers in different colours. And the other thing I think is going to be quite exciting is you could do these not just in other colours, but use when we get more colours in the 12 by 12 double-sided white core paper, where we're going to have the two-tone. So the two-tone paper that they're bringing out for the scrapbooking. So you'll have, like, say, for example, the Daffodil Delight, you'll have one side which is going to have the true colour, and the other side which is going to be, I think, a slightly lighter. So they will be a lot of fun when it comes to dies like this. Now we have this little one, and we need to pop this one on top. And I don't think this one is going to matter as much as the others because it doesn't have as much of a point of design. So I think as long as that's going inside there quite nicely, it will fit well. So let's just glue these together. You may want to use a pair of tweezers for doing something like this. I think as long as that's sitting in there, in those petals, that will come up like that. So let me remove these. And I do have some more flowers to glue together. But we also have another die piece, which is this one here. And it cuts out these little pieces here. Now they are quite, whoops, let me just grab my putty tool. So we have those pieces there. Now you could leave that quite plain if you wanted to, or we could glue one of those in the center, which is what I'm going to do. So let me just take that up. I'm going to pop a little bit of glue in there. Could also use a glue dot for this. And I'm not worrying too much about where I'm putting it. I'm just popping that in there. And I'm going to do the same here. Now you could do all these in white and then colour them with your blending brushes, which is something else I want to try, and bring in softer tonings. I can imagine a nice sort of like a white flower with a darker pink in the center and then doing the finer detail in a slightly like white again, but darkening it up a little bit more. I'm going to leave this one just like that. So let me just do these. I'm going to glue these together. So let me grab the other sections I have in these flowers here. I think it's going to be fun being able to create these flowers in all different colours. Be interesting to see what people come up with. Okay, so again, I've got to look for that V, and there it is there. And there's my V there. And I'm just going to line those two up. And that will line all of that up nicely. Give that a little bit of a press down. Put a little bit of glue there in the centre. Let's pick up another one of these. Pop that in. And then I've done 2 of each flower because I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to arrange all of these. So now we've got this one. Then we've got one of these pieces. So there's my V again. And there's my V there. So let's pop some little bit of glue on the back of this. Probably what I'm going to do in the next couple of days is actually make up one of these and stick it onto a piece of cardstock to show how all of this goes together so I don't lose or I don't forget where my points of reference are. So what did I say? That was, let's just have a look. There's my little V's and I'm going to join those up. Whoops, that didn't join up as well, so I think I've wrong V. That's the better V. See how easy it is to lose sight of that. So I think doing a sample and having a sample stuck somewhere that we can bring out each time we want to put one of these together is going to be a lot of help. Okay, we've got someone new on here. Kazarina, hello, how are you? Welcome. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And can we ask where you're from? Now, I've got another one of these, yes. And actually I've got 2 of these. So I'm going to do these 2. So today we're playing with some new product that will be released come January. So all of this you'll be able to purchase when it's released in January. So that's exciting. This is just one of the perks that we have from becoming a demonstrator, is that we get to play with these products a little bit earlier and make lots of samples so we can show you how it is, how all the different ways it can be used. Okay, so as I said before, I'm not too worried about those little ones, how those centers fit in there, and I need to put a little brown center in that one. So the color I've used here is the pecan pie. Okay, and I just want to pop one of those into there. So there's my flowers. Now we still do have more dies, so let me just pop all of these over here just so they can dry. We also have the dies. We've got a leaf shape here and another one and another leaf. There is another one and that one there. So these pieces will give me that particular die. Oops, got a bit of glue on my finger, so it's wanting to stick. That one there. Victoria. Oh, welcome. What part of Victoria are you in? And then we have that smaller one there. So again, I've done these in 2 tones. I've used Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. So I'm going to grab this piece here, pop a little bit of glue on the back here. Now, of course, you could stamp your... one of the reasons I like this stamp set is because it allows you to be able to... different ways of using it. You can stamp your flowers on by using these flowers, excuse me, these flowers here, or even, can't see, this one here. But you can also, as I'm doing here, die cutting and not lining my leaves up too well. Let's see if I can just move that around. I hope it hasn't glued down too. There we go, that's better. Talking and not watching what I'm doing. You can build your flowers up with the dies, or you can stamp them. You can work them all together. Okay. And where is that close to? Are you close to Melbourne or South Australia side? I know parts of Victoria. I know Gippsland area. Not real well, but reasonably, because my family will come from down there. Yeah, so you can stamp your images, you can die cut your images, you can use a combination of all of that. So there's lots I think you can do with this. You also have your images on your paper. You can fussy cut some of those images out. Whoops, I'm having a lot of fun here trying to get this all to line up. It does line up and lines up beautifully. So there's another one. So let's grab a few more of these and put these together. Because I've got quite a few leaves here and I wanted to have a few to put together. So have I got all of them out? Looks like I have. Okay. And again, if you wanted to, you could use adhesive sheets on the back of the these pieces, which gives you the detail. Because you will get very sticky fingers. 2 hours from Melbourne going towards Albury. Okay, yep, I've got a good idea. I used to live in the Riverina and used to travel down through the centre of Victoria to go and visit my cousins. So I know Shepparton and places like that. Haven't done it for a long time. So you're probably closer to the areas that I know better if you're going towards Albury. Okay, let's just glue this one together. Oh, 30 minutes from Wangaratta. Yeah, I know Wangaratta. Whoops. Nice area down there. Oh, tweezers are stuck. I'm getting a little bit of glue all over the place here, but that's okay. I'm not worrying about it because once that's dry, you can sometimes remove it, or I can get my the embossing buddy and just dab it with that, and that will take the stickiness off it. Because some of these are quite fine, so you just really do need to. And I'll show you a little trick in a minute once I've glued a couple more of these down, because I'm only, with this one here, I'm only putting glue on that fatter end. But what you can do, I've got over here a whole stack of these little offcuts. So they're only probably about 1/2 centimetre wide. And sometimes I use these as a paintbrush. So what I've done is I've only put glue, especially say on this one here, on that thicker part of my leaf. So what you can do is grab one of these, put a little bit of glue on the end. This is really good if you've got pieces that are sitting up. So if I look at that leaf there, I don't know whether you can tell, if I hold it still, I've got a little piece sitting up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this like a paintbrush and slip that in between the two and just touch that in and press that down, and that will glue that little fine bit down. Hopefully not to my finger. So it's always good to keep some of these little scrappy pieces so you can use them to glue things down. I use them a lot when I'm gluing down. I've sort of got a card made and I just want to get a little bit of glue into a tight spot. Always good to have those little pieces, and I decided the other day I'm just going to get myself a collection of them. Not a huge amount. You don't need too many. Rather than just throwing all those little scraps away. Getting so much glue on my fingers, just having a bit of trouble holding. Okay, and I'm going to use that little bit of glue I've got on the end of that just to tap that underneath there. Hold that down. I'm just going to use my tweezers, here, just to push that into place a little bit better. Just hold it down there. Now, do I have any of these ones left? I've got a big one here. I'm going to find a baby wipe in a minute and just wipe my hands down. Just give them a bit of a rub. If you like paper piecing, you will like this sort of thing. And again, I'm just going to use that underneath there just to stick that down. And we have one more. I was just going to think to myself, I've got that one put together perfectly after all of those. And then it moves on me, but it is a lot better than the others. Less glue all over it. Okay. And then once I'm finished with that, I can just tear that piece off, throw that in the bin, and I've still got a stick to play with. Again, hello Annette, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Okay, so there are my leaves. So I think that's all the die cut pieces there I wanted to show you. So let me pop those out of the road. So we've got our flowers, we've got our leaves. Get those out of the road. And we've got our branch. So that's what we're going to decorate our card with. So let me pop all of those into here to dry. Now this is a cute little tool that I've bought. In the past I've used a paint palette to hold my little bits and pieces. But when I was in Spotlight the other day, I came across these trays. It's where they keep all their Frenchville furnishings and so forth, and I thought, oh, this is going to be fantastic. I can pop all these little bits and pieces into there, and I got myself a couple of these trays so they can just sort of sit on top of my desk. They are meant to go into the 3-tier trolleys, but they're a lot smaller circumference than that. So but anyway, very worthwhile having, and it's got all your different sections. So if you've got lots of little bits and pieces, they are fantastic. Okay, so let's have a look. What else have we got? Now, I want to stamp my sentiment, which I'm not quite sure yet, but I want to have a go at this. I want to see how this is going to come up. So this is my idea now. This is my card base. It's a book fold card base, but I am going to use it landscape. So it is cut at 14.9 by 21 centimetres and can't get my words out, and scored at 10.5. So I'm going to fold that in half and just use my bone folder here to burnish that. But I'm just going to I just don't just rely on my score lines, because sometimes they can be out a little bit. So I'm just trying to marry those up. And then we're going to just burnish that. So that's my card base. I have decided that I'm going to have a mat in white, and that's going to go on there. And then I have two ideas. My first idea was to use the gingham and then have my branch and my flowers on that, and that's because I love the gingham. Oh, well, I'm glad I popped up and you got to join us today, Annette. The other idea is, but the problem with cutting that out of that, even though I like the idea, this is already yellow and white, and it may be a little bit of a clash, because that's a check and these are more of a flower, and it won't probably show up as much because there's a lot of white in this. Then I came up with, well, what if I swapped that out and we popped this Hessian piece in here, and then I might cut some of these floral pieces out of that, because I want that to give me a bit of a background to my branch. So I'm going to have my branch coming probably somewhere like that. Let's just lay some of these flowers out so we can have a look, and then have a couple of these flowers in around here. Okay, there may be more flowers and everything. And I thought that might be better than that, because then that cut out in that, you're going to have that white popping through. Only thing is, I don't want to make this so busy that you're going to lose everything else, because we've still got our sentiment and everything to pop on there. So I want to use the wishing, and the wishing I'm going to do in Old Olive, just to be able to bring that back forward again, and plus pick up on the leaves. So let's give this a go using this one rather than using the gingham. Sorry. because the only problem with the gingham is the flowers are going to get a little bit lost as well, I think, on that. Don't think it will show up and it would look still very pretty, but I just don't think it would be quite the same effect. So we're going to have a bit of a play, and we're going to cut. Put this to one side. I'm going to try die cutting this. Now, this is my standard sizings that I use for my cards. Okay, I've already given you the card base there, which is, as I said, 21 centimetres by 14.9, scored at 10.5. Or my normal fold that I use, which is a 10 fold, which is 10.5 by 29.9, scored at 14.9. My mat size is, I like doing my mat 0.5 centimetre smaller. So my mat size here is 10 by 14.4. Now, this is the general measurements I use in majority of my cards. And then the card front piece, which is the piece on the inside, is 3 millimetres, okay, in difference in size to the white one. So this one here is 9.7 by 14.1. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance today to write that all down for you, but I will try to get it up on my blog. Okay, so let me bring in my cut and emboss machine, and let's just move some of these pieces out of the road so we don't have everything going flying. So if I pop that all on that side, then at least we know where they all are. And let's open this up. Well, I'm using my big one because I am cutting that larger piece of cardstock or design series paper. All the flowers and everything can be very easily done with your mini. But if you are wanting to cut larger pieces and so forth, or lots of little bits and pieces all at once, the big one works out really well. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'm looking at popping that onto there. I'm hoping you can see. So that's where, roughly where that's going to go, only just roughly. So I definitely want to cut maybe that one at about there. Okay, so let's pop a top onto that. And I am going to cut this out probably twice. So this is just going to give us that little bit extra texture. So if we pull that off, look at that texture. Pop my hand, actually, let's put a bit of white underneath that so you can really see that. Isn't that gorgeous? It's just giving that little bit of lacy softness to it. Okay. Get rid of these little pieces that are stuck there, and we want to cut another one. Now this is where I really need my brush, and I don't know where it is offhand, so let me just very quickly poke out some of these little bits, because you've got lots of little bits, see, all stuck in there. So I'm just very quickly just poking some of those out. Okay, so with this one here, I had, you can see there's a thin part of the die and there's a thicker part. I had my thin part going towards the middle, and I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to have it this time coming from the opposite corner diagonally. Pop that over the top, and let's run that through again. Just move this out of the road again for a moment. We'll bring it back in a minute to cut our sentiment. And I'll pop that over there to clean up later. So that's given us that really nice, that's just a little bit of a an added interest to our card front. So that's going to go like that. So while I've got all this together, I'm going to pop, oops, do I run out of glue just yet? Some glue just around those edges, trying not to go too close to where we've cut those holes out, because we don't want glue oozing up through them. And let's pop this on here. And look how beautiful that is actually now, just coming through there, just giving that little bit of added interest to our background. So while I've got that, I'm going to add that directly on top of my card base. Now you could mount this if you wanted to on dimensionals, but I like just to pop this up, pop it onto with multi-purpose glue or with your seal, because I am going to have my flowers and everything on there creating dimension. Okay, give that a really good rub, making sure that that's well and truly adhered down. Okay, so there's the start of our card. Okay, so let's pop that to one side and let's grab a scrap of old olive. I've got a piece here, and the other piece I need a scrap of is some basic white. Now, I can't cut into that one because that should be my card, the inside. Yes, it is. And I've got another piece here. So now, the question is going to be, do we do our sentiment in the white and have it sitting up on, so we could do our sentiment in the white and have it sitting on the old olive, or do I do it in the old olive and have it sitting on the white? Didn't get that real square now, did I? And I don't think I'm going to be able to pull that down. Oh well, no one will know but us. Okay, so what do you think? Should we do our sentiment in white, our wishing in white, and then that part in old olive? And I'm just trying to think what I'm going to be doing. I think actually I'm going to do my sentiment in the old olive and then the shadow line in the white, because I still want to do my other part of my sentiment, and I'm thinking it's going to be in green as well, but whether I'll use that in the mossy meadow. Let's just do this part first. Okay, so I need some adhesive sheets, and I do have some here. These are them. Must add some more of these to my order. I'm running out. So the adhesive sheets are really great for doing these fine sentiments. And what I've done is they come in a big sheet like so, which is 15 by 30 centimeters. And what I've done is I've cut them down to about 10 centimeters by 15. So I get 3 out of one of those big sheets, and then that just makes it into a smaller sheet, and then I just keep it into one of these plastic folders. Just really good for storage and handling. And I just need that little bit there, and I'm just going to trim that out. because each one of these sections here is about 5 centimetres in width. And you've got 3 of those, that gives you that 15. So I want to cut that into this one, making sure that that's on my back, and that's going to go onto there. And then this piece here, I'm going to cut one piece there. So I'm just going to grab this piece and just cut a section. Now this is where all your scraps come in handy, but I don't have my white scraps here handy with me at the moment. So let's pop that over there. And then let's bring in our cut and emboss again. Now again, you could do this with your mini, but I'm going to run them both through together by using my big one. So we're going to pop one on there, and that one, flip it over the right way, and we're going to do one on that side. Run that through. Now I'm just going to run this through a second time just to make sure that that has all adhered down nicely, or cut through nicely, I should say. So there's that one, and there's that. See, I can keep this one here to do, you know, there's plenty of areas there if I want to cut more bits and pieces out of it. So I'm just going to pop those into my little tray. And then here's our piece here. So I'm just going to, now, careful when you do this. You've got these tiny little dots for your eyes just up the top. So what I want to do is pop them out, but I don't want to lose them. And they are tiny. I did see the other day how someone actually did it with by keeping it inside the die and just peeled the backing off it. But I think they might have done that with the foam sheets. So I'm not quite sure how easy. I'd have to give that a bit of a practice before I say. And what they did was they actually had something like this, and then they peeled off. Let's see. I don't know whether I can do it. They kept it all in the die and then peeled off the backing of the adhesive sheet on the back of it. I don't think I'm going to be able to try. And then just took that piece and placed it on top of the other and pushed it down, and it all adhered. Very good, looked very good. But anyway, I don't want to lose that little dot. Another good way of not losing it is actually just keeping it in the die until you're ready to use it, which is probably a better idea than popping them out. And that is very, very fine. Very fine. Okay. Now, when you're adhering this down, you do want to be very careful you don't stretch this, because the font could be very easily stretched out. So I like to just peel a little bit off at a time. And I'm going to start with, I'll bend that back a bit. That's my backing. I've just bent back. And I'm going to pop that very carefully. Oops. Usually I do this up close to my face, but I'm trying to do this for you so you can see. Just push that down and just very gently peel a bit more off. Push that part down. Peel off the next section. And I have just realised that somehow my piece must have moved. I've somehow managed to chop off the, I don't know whether you can see the back of my L there, my H. The die must have moved when I put it through the cut and emboss machine, so I've lost the top of my H, but I'm not going to worry about it. I don't think anyone's going to know, except for us watching. And I'm sure you won't all tell on me. So let's remove all of that. Now I've got those little intricate. Pick that up with my, and I don't know how I'm going to do this. Just want to separate. Oops, there it is. Thought I lost it. Don't know whether you can see here, but I'm sort of playing around with this dot, which is like millimeters wide. I've got the backing off. There's one. There's a will, there's a way. Now let's grab the other one. See if we can. Oh, there must be a way you can join all this together easily. It's so tiny. So I'm just using my take a pick tool to get between. Now, it might have been easier to stamp this in the old olive and then cut it out. But hey, I never do everything the easy way. And look, I managed to separate it. There we go. And we need words that don't have two eyes in it. Whoops. Stuck to my finger and not to the... Keep sticking to my finger. Okay, let's see. Get it. Pair of tweezers. Remove my finger out of the equation. There we go. It's stuck. I'm just going to use that just to make sure that's pushed down. Okay, that is done. So there's my wishing, and unfortunately I've chopped the top off my H, but I'm not going to redo that right now. So there's my wishing to go on top of there. And the other part that I want to do is stamp my other part of my sentiments. So I want to do that with, and I'm thinking, I wonder how that would go in the mossy meadow. Let's give this a go. Okay. So I've got my Versamark. Whoops. And I've got my white embossing powder. I need a scrap of paper, that will do. And embossing buddy. So we're doing everything today. So let's just pop a bit of the powder on there. So I'm just going to stamp that in the center of that piece. Use some embossing powder. Pop that all back into there. So far, so good. And very soon we can pop this card together. So just using a heat gun. Making sure you keep your fingers right out of the road of that heat. Give that a bit of heat on the back just to make sure that that's stop the paper from curling, but also just to make sure that that has all adhered. Let's just remove all of that, and I need to bring in my die cut machine again so we can die cut that out. So let me bring in, now this is where your mini one does come in handy because these are very heavy going backwards and forwards. And I'm just going to use a little bit of post-it note just to adhere these together so my die doesn't move. And we'll just run that through. Well, it's really well and truly raining outside now. Before it was just showers, but now it is coming down. Should enjoy it and not complain while we've got it, because I don't think we're going to get much more rain after this week. So there's my other part of my sentiment. So it's going to be wishing you a happy birthday. So let's just move that out of the road for the moment, and let's start popping all of this together. So we're going to have our branch going across there. Our sentiment is going to go somewhere, probably in there. So let's just have a look. Where that's going to go. Might even take that at a slight angle, the branch. So I'm just doing a little bit of a dry fit here for the moment and just working out where some of these can fit. Now I am sort of thinking of putting I'm just wondering how I'm going to. So let's just pop flower there. And that one in there. Okay, so that's my idea at the moment. So let's start with by putting, I might just take those two up for the moment, and let's adhere this branch down. So I want him sort of going a little bit at an angle. So let's just pop. Now, as I said before, Patty Bennett had an excellent way of adhering glue or putting glue onto the back of some of these die pieces. If you get a chance, go and have a look at her website for that post. She's used a brush, a silicone basting brush, basically, and cut it down. She saw someone else had done it on YouTube, and it was a fantastic idea. So I'm going to be getting some to do some myself. Okay. So looking at popping that there. Now, that one there. Maybe that one in there. This particular suite also does come with some yellow ribbon, but I think I might leave that out this time. I was thinking of doing a swish underneath that, but I've already laid all that down, and I think my problem would be I'm going to have too many elements because there's quite a bit happening in this card. So let me grab my dimensionals. And I'm just going to pop a couple of dimensionals fairly close into the center of this large flower. And as you know, if you've been watching me for a while, I like to put my dimensionals more in the center because then if I want to slip things in underneath, I can do so. Another thing you could do with these flowers, if you wanted to give it a bit more definition of color, is also sponge your edges. I'm also going to pop this one here up on a dimensional. I'm going to pop it slightly at an angle, just for the fact that you don't want all your flowers just sort of all sitting at the same angle. And I'm going to pop another one over there. So these flowers are all going up on dimensionals at the moment. And that one there is going to sit just a little bit underneath that one. Now what I think I might do is almost considering I said I wasn't going to do any more die cutting, but thinking I might just die cut, and I might grab my mini machine for this. Just going to cut this down a bit so it's going to fit inside it on this. And I want to give the back of the wishing a little bit more strength. So I've just got here, oops, I need another plate. I want to cut that another, maybe even another one again. Or the other thing I could do I've just had another idea after I've cut that. That's okay. I can use that for another card. Just bear with me 1 second, and I'm just going to grab I don't know whether this is going to work. I am thinking hard here. I'm making myself work hard for this. I want this being a little bit thicker, but it's so thin, it's going to be hard to get dimensionals underneath it. I want a bit of height or a bit of thickness on my wishing. And originally what I was thinking of doing is taking this piece and then gluing that onto there, which is just going to give it that little bit more. Now, it may be enough. Okay, we might just pop that away for the moment. And I'll go back to my original idea. If I had a thought about this before cutting all of this out, I probably would have put foam tape on the back of this piece here. So what I've done here, as you saw, I'm just taking a piece of basic white and I'm going to, I've put an adhesive sheet on the back there. I could have put actually a piece of adhesive sheet there on the front as well. But what I'm going to do is actually, I'll put the glue onto this piece. I'm just going to glue this all together. Because I wanted more of a solid, rather than just cutting up lots of little bits and pieces of dimensionals. If I glue these together, and if you cut out a few of these, then these will act as a solid piece. And I just wanted that to be a little bit more, have a bit more depth, a bit more strength. Could even cut out a third one. Probably if I had a bit more time, that's probably what I would do. But I'm just going to, and it's just going to bring that up, make that a little bit more solid. Because what I want to do now is peel the back of that off. So it's not quite as high as using foam tape or the foam adhesive sheets or even dimensionals, but it's just a little bit stronger and not as flimsy looking. And I want to pop that. Just let me pick this up so I can just make sure that I've got that lined up, I think nice and straight, and give that a good push down. So it's just got a little bit more depth to it, in thickness, in layers. Okay. Then this one here, I'm going to eventually pop that probably across here somewhere. So we're losing a little bit of our background here, but that's okay because it's only just to give a bit of extra interest to it. So let me just grab these leaves and the flower. Let's start popping all of these on, just filling up some of these areas in here a little bit more. So we're just going to glue a lot of these ones down rather than, and I'm going to start with my leaves. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue there on there. Let me just pull this up so you can see. I'll keep forgetting. And we want to pop maybe one in there. Just give that a bit of a push down there. Let's just work out. I'll pop that one in there. All we're just going to do is just fill in some of these areas with some of these leaves. You can have some of these coming from the branches, not just from the branch, not just from underneath the flowers. Do need to probably put another big leaf maybe coming from. We should have worked this one out before I did it. Let me just pop that on there for a second. I just grab this one here. Just got no glue on it. Let's just have a look and see. Yeah, okay, so this one here, which I've got the glue on. Go under there. That one. It's coming from there. Now, I just want to. Okay, let's just pop some mini dimensionals. The back of this one. I'm just using this edging here for this. May have to trim down the width a little bit. We don't need that one. Yep. Just trimming those little bits off there because I just want that. Just put that in the middle. And I just want to pop this one right there. So that's going to go there. A little bit too much glue on that. Just move that underneath there a little bit more. Now I've still got two big leaves, and I've still got. Yep, that could look good underneath there. Would have been good to have a few more of the little ones, but anyway, I'm not. And that's the reason why I only put dimensionals in the center, because then I can slip things underneath. just like that. And I probably want to pop another, because I've got quite a big cluster there. And I think I might put another one just in there. This one here I might put up on a dimensional just for the fact that whoops, I want it to sit underneath that happy birthday, but on top of that leaf. So let's see if I can just lift that up a little bit. Okay, we do have one more leaf. We don't need to use all of them, but let's just have a look. Let's have a look. See, do we need another leaf in there? Because I've got one more I can probably put. Got enough around that, I think. I think really that might be enough. I don't think I need that one. Sometimes I have to tell myself when to stop. Now, the only other thing I haven't done, which we could use that spare leaf for, is the inside of our card. So let's just have a look. Because I've got that to go on the inside in there. Got this piece to go there. Okay, so that's going to fit onto there. So let's decorate the inside of this card. Now this piece was just a little scrap because I originally cut my designer series paper at 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters, and then when I cut this down to get the piece in here, this is the piece that was left over, but I was thinking that's where I wanted to put it, so I made sure I had that. And now I'm just going to pop that one there, and that's going to work out. I've only got the one leaf, but that will work out well to go there. So let's pop this one about there, going down slightly at an angle. A bit of glue just in the center of that flower. We want to glue that right over the top. I might just pop that leaf just in that little bit further. A bit of glue on the back. Just about empty of glue. Not quite though. Now, this is one of the reasons why I did fall in love with this particular suite, was because the flowers were something you could piece together. So doing a bit of paper piecing, which I love, and you can get a lot of dimension with it. But I'm actually really pleased with the way that's turned out. You could add a bit of bling. I'm not someone that adds a lot of bling, but I think there's enough there on that for a beautiful summery card. And as I said, you could change those colours. You could use the same designer series paper as that. You could change the colours to pink, use 2 different shades of the pink, 2 different shades of your purples and your lilacs. There is so much you could actually do with this to change this up. And you could do different coloured flowers. I think it's going to be a fun suite to play with. So there you go. There's my first card using this particular suite. I know we've sort of gone almost for an hour and a half, so thank you very much for sticking with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. Look, grab it when it becomes available. As I said, will become available at the beginning of January, and I'm sure you'll love it. So you'll find this in the mini catalogue. Now, remember, with the mini catalogue coming out in January, you also have the celebration catalogue coming out as well. So this year, they've upped the amount that we have to spend. Previously, we spent $90. This coming year, you're going to be spending $100. This particular suite is definitely over that $100 mark, well and truly. I can't tell you exactly how much it is at the moment off the top of my head. So for every $100 you spend, you can choose then something for free from the celebration catalogue. So with this particular suite here, you'll definitely get your one item for free, and if you spent the extra amount to take it up to $200, then you would have you could get 2 items. So that's in per sale. So you have to make sure that that you're either spending $100 or $200 in that one sale to get 1 item or 2 items. There are some items in the celebration catalogue. If you spend $200, it's a bigger item that you can choose. So keep that in mind. So the celebration is a lot of fun. Mini catalogue, there are some really beautiful things in that. So if you're wanting a catalogue and you don't have a catalogue, let me know. If you don't have a demonstrator, let me know, and I will organise to have a catalogue sent to you. So thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for hanging on for an hour and a half while I played. I hope you have enjoyed watching this card being made and some of my decisions that I've made. And by putting that second backing onto the back of this, I've also replaced that detail that I had lost out of that, the wishing, the top of the wish, the H in the wishing. So take care. Thank you. Have a lovely day. And hopefully it will be a nice weather on next Tuesday. Though I've got a funny feeling it could be another hot day. But if it's not too bad, hopefully I can get in here. It just depends whether I'm coping with the heat all day, because I just don't cope these days with all that heat. So have a lovely weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. And we'll catch you hopefully next week on Tuesday. Bye for now.